These are feral and stray cats and dogs, animals without homes, without vaccinations or treatment for diseases, without love. There are more than 70 million cats and dogs in these conditions throughout the U.S., and 3 to 4 million of them are euthanized each year. Up to 10,000 animals killed each day. The majority of these animals end up in this situation when pet cats and dogs get pregnant and the owner can't find homes for all the kittens and puppies. Pet owners are forced to leave them on the street or in a shelter, with the possibility of euthanasia. Kittens left in the wild become feral and can have up to 3 litters a year, adding to the problem of pet overpopulation. It is a vicious cycle and can only be ended by one thing: spaying and neutering. Spaying and neutering are surgical procedures performed by veterinarians that make dogs and cats incapable of breeding by removing their reproductive organs. My dog and cat have both been spayed and neutered at the Rhode Island Community Spay Neuter Clinic, so I visited the facility with a camera to show how well run the facility is.
Hi, I'm Pam Knocklin, and I'm the clinic director for the Rhode Island Community Spay Neuter Clinic. The clinic has been in existence since July of 2010, and as you can proudly see on our sign there, we've performed more than 29,000 surgeries since July 2010. In fact, tomorrow we will be reaching 30,000 surgeries. It's a big landmark for us. The clinic is owned by the Ocean State Animal Coalition, which is an organization of animal welfare advocates, animal control officers, different shelters and rescues are representative, and they own and operate the clinic. We are a nonprofit. We provide spay-neuter services for dogs and cats, often subsidized, in a high-volume spay-neuter clinic. We will actually do up to 60 surgeries on a day that we have 2 doctors here. The quality of the care is never compromised. We're very happy that we're able to help people get animals spayed and neutered that otherwise would not have been able to. Spaying and neutering is incredibly important because it does prevent euthanasia of unwanted animals in shelters. It's a key thing to stopping the overpopulation of animals, especially animals like cats, where kittens are born litter after litter every year. A mom cat can have multiple litters in a year. So they're a huge part of our mission, and 80% of our animals are cats that come through for surgery. And out of the dogs that we perform spay neuters on, 1/3 of our dogs are pit bulls. And that's very important to us because pit bulls are wonderful dogs, but they often end up in shelters and are euthanized because people are afraid of them and don't always understand their breeding. And some of them really are not well socialized, but many, many are wonderful dogs.
Meet Arthur Smith, the clinic's transport and outreach coordinator. He drives this transport vehicle to and from many of the animal shelters in Rhode Island, along with special pickups and drop-offs at specified locations for pet owners who aren't able to provide transport themselves.
Our van, actually, what you got a chance to see, is climate controlled, air conditioned, comfortable in the summer, and then heated in the winter. And Art was animal control officer for Narragansett for many years, so he already knows many of the different animal control officers around the state, and certainly has great capability handling many different kinds of animals. So we're very proud of our van. That was actually a gift from the Rhode Island Foundation. So that's a huge service that we offer, is free transport from the shelters.
Shelters that we go to: Westerly, Charlestown, the Animal Rescue League of Southern Rhode Island, South Kingstown, Richmond. On this side we go to East Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls, Woonsocket, Lincoln. On the other side we go to Bristol, Warren, the Potter League. We meet folks at the in Tiverton. So yeah, Cranston. We're at West Warwick. So there's quite a few shelters that we go to in the course of a week.
Here at Rhode Island Community Spay Neuter Clinic, we provide free transport for shelter pets and privately owned cats from anywhere in Rhode Island. We do meet at different shelter facilities, and this map shows some of the facilities that we transport from. It's a map of Rhode Island, And we have different runs that we make. On a Monday, we would go up to Woonsocket Animal Shelter for 8 o'clock, stop at Lincoln Shelter for 8:30, and then stop in Central Falls, where we actually have a grant right now for free spay neuter for cats. And then bring all those animals back to the clinic. And you've already met Art, our transport driver. He's very careful to label all the carriers very carefully so there's never a mix-up on where a pet came from and where it's going back to. Another run that we do is down the southern part of the state. On Thursdays, we go to Westerly Animal Shelter, stop in Charlestown, and then finally at Animal Rescue League of Southern Rhode Island in Peacedale. So we do work with over 100 shelters and rescues, providing lower cost fees for shelter animals. And we're very proud of that relationship we have with all these wonderful shelters and animal control officers.
I followed Art to some pickups at local shelters, and here you can see just how busy he really is. We've arrived back from the Pawtucket Animal Shelter to the Rhode Island Community Spay Neuter Clinic. Now that all of the pickups have been made, Art is preparing to unload the animals. Next, they will be sorted, have their identification double-checked, and be further processed for their surgery.
Okay, well, we're back from the Pawtucket Animal Shelter. We're going to be unloading our cats now. We have about 20 animals on board, and from here they go into our receiving area where they're going to be admitted. And if you want, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stacking cat carriers here, and we'll just go back and forth.
Sure.
And if it's too much of a problem, just let me know.
Okay.
Obviously, one of our goals is safety, and we make sure that when we have a lot of animals on board in the van, we bungee them down so they don't go moving around or anything. What's nice is oftentimes we have folks that own cats that we're bringing to and from shelters. They donate foods, or they donate kitty litter or paper towels and stuff. It's always very nice and helpful.
Thank you.
And if you'll notice, all of our carriers will have blue tape and things that'll indicate where they're from and that they're transport. For instance, the T stands for transportation and PAW for Pawtucket, so we know that this animal will be going back on the van tomorrow and its destination will be Pawtucket. Is that too heavy for you?
Nope, it's fine. Okay, thank you. Is there any more?
So transport is complete.
One that you had surgery. It'll take as long as we do it.
Now what's going on is the director's going over the paperwork.
I'm the director.
This is
Pam Knockline. And we're very careful to take all the good work that Art's done with making the collars, making the cards, with what services they're receiving, and double checking that against the schedule just to make sure that we have all the correct services marked on the right animal. So we've got a lot of transport today, don't we, Art?
we do. And that's what I was doing in the van right before I left Pawtucket. I was filling these out, and we are very accountable. So this is what we do from here.
I think will be real important even at prices. Shelter, prices, but all these other boards.
So these are cage cards, blue and pink. Blue, of course, is male, and pink is for female. And these are collars. So we have pretty much a triple identification going on. One is the carrier with its name on it, two is the cage card, and third is the collar. And now we have a lot of fun matching them up.
Yeah.
So you'll notice 133
Oh, don't give that word.
goes to 133. And so on.
All right. What's these noises that are coming out of this box already?
Not all cats come to the clinic from a home or from a shelter. Many are feral, wild, and come in off the streets. The Rhode Island Community Spay Neuter Clinic helps control the feral cat overpopulation humanely through their spaying and neutering program. Here's Pam to explain in more detail.
What we have in here is a feral cat. Now this is a cat that is not socialized. Possibly someone had left it behind abandoned and it reverted to a wild state, or it might have even been born in the wild. It's a really huge problem in Rhode Island and actually across the country that there are cats and kittens that are living outside without a home, and they often are not socialized. Kitty is in a safe, humane trap that it is not going to be able to hurt anybody, and we can safely handle it. What we will do is we will take an isolator fork and we will just confine the kitten to the back area of the trap and then be able to inject it in its bottom with an anesthetic. That way we can safely handle the cat once it's asleep, and we don't have to manhandle it to get it to go to sleep. Once the kitten is asleep, we don't even know if it's a boy or girl, so it has a yellow card. We won't know until it wakes up, or until we're doing surgery actually. This kitten will be vaccinated for distemper and rabies. It will have a good flea deworming ear mite treatment. It will be spayed or neutered and generally checked over for its health, because this is its one chance to have some vet care. And then we'll do a little tip across the left ear. We'll sniff the left ear. And that's a universal code that tells everybody, especially animal control officers and people in the neighborhood where this cat lives, that the cat has been spayed or neutered and has received a rabies vaccination. We do the feral cats at a very discounted price, less than what it costs us, because they're so incredibly important that they receive this care. And there are some very active trapping groups. They're called TNR, Trap, Neuter, Release groups, including Paws Watch in Rhode Island, that actually will help people when they have cats living in their neighborhood, go out to the neighborhood with humane traps, teach them how to trap, and then help facilitate getting the cats here to receive the spay, neuter, and vaccination services. So this kitty will be recovering for a few days in the trap. It will have a nice blanket in there after. It will have food until it's really had a few days to recover. And then if it's not an animal that's friendly and sociable, sometimes we can figure that out. In a few days it will go back to where it was living. And they always go back to somewhere where they have some shelter and where someone is feeding them. So really it's the best way to deal with feral cats, because the only other option for this cat would be humane euthanasia. But if it's living a good life with shelter and food and somebody that's caring for it, living outside, Now it's been fully vetted. It's not going to get rabies with that 1-year rabies vaccine. It'll be protected for at least a year. And the idea is in a feral colony where you have lots of wild cats outside. Sometimes they'll be behind a store. There might be 20, 30 cats. If you didn't spay and neuter them or vaccinate them, it'd be a huge health risk. And you'd also probably have way more than 30 in just a few months. So the idea is to control the population. Eventually, unfortunately, kitties living outside like that don't have a very long life. And the idea is the colony would be reduced just by attrition. The kitties don't live long, but at least we can provide them a good quality of life while they are around. Okay? To learn more, you can go to our website, and there's links there to Paws Watch and Alley Cat Allies.
It's not just cats that benefit from our clinic services. Dogs need to be spayed and neutered as well. Puppies that don't find homes often end up in shelters with the possibility of euthanasia. The Rhode Island Community Spay and Neuter Clinic provides a better option for these patients. After shelter dogs visit the clinic and are vaccinated and spayed or neutered, they become...
Whoa! Okay, you ready? And what we'll do is we'll bring this dog in. We're going to get him weighed. Oh, careful, bud. Hey, Ivy. Would you mind making me another collar for this dog? It seems to have fallen off.
Sure. Now do you want the paperwork for her?
It's okay. It's okay. You sit for me?
Okay,
I think I'm just scared.
it probably won't be the whole thing anyway. Okay. Is this K133?
Yes. Oh, you know what? It is on. It's on.
Oh, you're okay, as long as you know whenever you're a dog with a nose. Okay. Can I get some? Help everybody. Boy.
This is a no. He's got this nasal discharge. This dog's got a wicked nasal discharge.
Is Ivy coming to finish up with?
So, or you can just take that. Yes. This dog has got a bad nasal discharge.
They are
I'm behind you.
Oh, you are? Okay, so will you go
I hear it.
transport the
Sure.
dog back? We have some dogs waking up from surgery. They're already wearing their Elizabethan collar. That collar around their neck is going to keep them from licking their incision, and we do provide those to all our dog owners. He's got his own little fleecy blanket, waking up just a little bit woozy, wobbly from the anesthesia still. There's lots of good pain meds on board. And this little guy's also a little girl. She's got a pink card. She's also waking up from surgery, all wrapped in her ducky blanket. She's got a little heat disc to keep her warm. So these guys will be with us till about 2 o'clock today, when they'll actually be awake enough to walk out of here and go home to their owners after we've given them lots of good instruction on what the aftercare is for the spay or neuter. And now we'll go see, the doctor is going to be examining some cats before they have surgery. They just arrived on transport. And you can just peek through the window here. We've got kitties in cages, and Dr. Jill, who's to the right, is examining kitties, making sure that they don't have any heart murmurs, that they're in good health, and that they're a good surgical candidate today. All the animals have been fasted, had no food after midnight last night, and if they're little kittens, because we do pediatric spay neuter, we will actually do kittens, spay or neuter them down to 2 pounds of weight, which is about 2 months of age. We give them a little bit of Nutrical or sugar so that we make sure they have a higher blood glucose level. We don't want them getting low blood sugar. So we've got some kitties in crates that will come out of their crates, get an exam, and then get safely set up in a cage and get ready to have their surgery. I'm going to introduce you to Kristen, who is one of our veterinary technicians here, and what she's doing is preparing the instruments for our surgical packs. Again, we're very scrupulous about the sterility and handling of all the instruments that will be used in surgery. We have a very large autoclave. This is like almost like a big oven. It's going to make sure all the instruments are completely sterilized. And Kristen is going to put together all the surgical packs that are going to be needed for surgery. And here you can see she's got a number of the different instruments. They're all going to get wrapped up and put in the autoclave. We do probably, what do you think, 30 to 40 packs a day? Yeah, quite a few, because every animal's going to have an individual pack. Okay?
After the patient has been fully anesthetized, Kristen clips its nails and shaves its abdominal area in preparation for surgery. A vacuum is used to clean up remaining hair, and the patient is sent to the surgery area.
From surgery, who's being watched very closely as she recovers. We call this our beach. It's a heated blanket. There's an electric blanket underneath. She's got a little warm disc under her, and she's all wrapped up like a little papoose, and she's actually got a little space blanket to keep her extra warm. She's a kitten, so we want to make sure she doesn't get cold. We got to keep them extra warm and also give them a little bit of Caro syrup, or what we call sugar lips. A little bit of sugar to keep her blood glucose up. So she's going to be watched very closely till she's awake, and then she'll go back to her cage, all in her little fleecy. Okay?
After the patient is warmed up and coming out of anesthesia, it returns to the waiting area. All cats stay overnight to be monitored. The next day, they wait to be picked up by their owner or transported back to a specified location where their owner can pick them up. The next morning, after the patients are fully out of anesthesia, they are able to go home. This shelter cat is waiting to be dropped back off at the Pawtucket Animal Shelter, where it can hopefully be adopted.
Second.
Sure.
Although our phone number is all over the place, give us a call anytime you'd like. Most notably, you're going to see a small green tattoo. It's about that big, and it's by the incision section. And that just tells people, particularly if an animal was to ever get loose and it was to go to a shelter or a pound or something like that, that's the first thing they look for, is to see whether or not a cat is spayed or neutered.
Okay.
And they do a little shave, they look, they see it, and it's all good. Okay. And it's also actually an indicator that someone's taking the time to spay and neuter the animal, so the likelihood of it being owned is pretty good. Okay? So that's that.
Abby! Hi, baby girl! I know!
I can look at the tattoo. Let me see it. You got
a rose and a lily.
nice. And you take that, Chanel. All right.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You
Take
too.
care. And you are here for
Mulligan.
Mulligan.
Right there. Hi, Abs.
you.
Thank you so much.
This pet's journey to and from the Rhode Island Community Spay Neuter Clinic is now complete. All that cat number 202 at the Pawtucket Animal Shelter needs now is a loving home. And thanks to its neutering operation and vaccines, he will be more desirable to potential adopters. This is the Rhode Island Community Spay Neuter Clinic's mission, to help shelter pets find homes, to get homeless animals off the streets and into a shelter or home, to spay, neuter, and vaccinate feral cats, and to spay and neuter pets with homes, so the problem of them getting pregnant is eliminated. The Rhode Island Community Spay Neuter Clinic does everything they can to help end pet overpopulation, and you can help by bringing your pet in to be spayed, neutered, and vaccinated. Schedule an appointment today by calling 401-369-7297.